Welcome back to the Graham Stephan Show. So you're probably familiar with Mark Cuban. He's the owner of the Dallas Mavericks. He's on Shark Tank. He's a billionaire. And also, he's on GQ Sports. In this video, it's titled, How Mark Cuban Turned His First $1 Million into $1 Billion. So with that said, we got to see exactly how he did this as soon as you hit the like button and subscribe. As soon as you do that, just hit the little subscribe button. We're getting close to 1 million subscribers. Thanks so much, and now let's begin.
Hey GQ, I'm Mark Cuban, and this is how I made, saved, and spent my first $1 million, and then flipped it into $1 billion.
Oh man, that's a boss move, taking $1 million to $1 billion. That's 1,000 millions. You have to 1,000x your money. So all of a sudden, like Wall Street Bets is paying close attention to this one. Let's see how we can do it.
Dad, I need some new sneakers. And he looked at me, looked at my feet, and he goes, those tennis shoes you got on, they work. When you have a job, you can buy whatever you want. And one of his buddies that had to be drunk was sitting at the poker table with him. And he goes, hey, I got something you can sell. I got all these boxes of garbage bags. Why don't you sell them in the neighborhood and then you can take the money you make and buy your sneakers.
Wow, boxes of garbage bags. You know what the thing is when you're a kid? You could get away with that. Because when you open the door, you see a 5-year-old is like, hey, I'm just trying to make some money to buy a new pair of shoes. You're not going to turn that down. When you're a kid, probably up until the age of like 13 to 15 years old, you could get away with so much because you're not threatening. You could ask for anything. People are going to do it just to help you out because they want to like give you good encouragement. So at the age of like 9, 10, 11, 12, just go to your neighbors, ask for stuff, and chances are they're going to do it. Even if they feel bad, doesn't matter. Just have them do it. Take the business.
When I was 17, I dropped out of high school altogether and went to Pitt full time. That's where things really started to happen for me.
Look at him here. He looks almost the same. It goes to show you, money could buy you youth. As soon as you get like, I don't know, $100 million, you just start aging backwards. Like you just start getting younger. You defy the laws of just time. And he looks fantastic for his age. How old is he? 64 years old. He looks fantastic.
I never ever thought in terms of money, okay, I need to make millions. I always thought in terms of time. Has always been my driving motivation. How can I control my own destiny? How can I control my own time?
Yeah, exactly. He's basically bought himself as much time as he wants to because the guy's not aging. He looks the same.
So here's the rundown of when I sold Micro Solutions for $6 million. So $1 million went to employees, $2 million to a partner I brought in, $2 million to me. I live like a student, but the first thing I did was buy a lifetime pass on American Airlines, and I just went all around the world taking friends and partying like a rock star.
Wow, lifetime pass. Do they still offer that? I don't think they do. I think they realized that like a few of the people just ruined it for everybody else. They got the lifetime passes and they took flights everywhere. One guy had a story about how we would fly to New York for a lunch and then like fly right back and then decide to go somewhere else for dinner and just fly there too. And then I think the issue was that he began to sell his seats or something like that he wasn't using. But yeah, that was a bad idea for airlines. I think back then it was like $250,000 way back in like the 70s or 80s. They weren't sure if people are going to buy them. But anyway, that's a fantastic investment.
Then one of my buddies from college, Todd Wagner, sat down with me, and this was in 1995. He was like, there's this whole new thing called the internet. There's got to be a way we can use this to listen to Indiana basketball. We set up this website called AudioNet, and the next thing you know, video comes along and we turned it into a company called broadcast.com. And so we started what turned out to be the very first streaming company.
Jeez, and look where it is now though. I mean, his timing was fantastic. To start an internet company in the mid-90s, right before the tech boom. This was like starting a crypto company back in like 2011, 2012, and then riding it all the way up through, the 2020s.
We went public and we're guessing, what's the stock gonna open at? And I was the high, I'm thinking $33. It goes $62.75. All of a sudden, I'm worth $300 million plus. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh, if this stock price triples, I'm a billionaire.
Yeah, it's crazy. At that point, I'd be like, how do I get out of this as quickly as possible? When something goes up that fast, it could go down just as quickly too.
I told Todd, my partner, I told everybody who worked for us, there's a good chance because this stock market is so highly priced that the whole thing could crash. Don't be greedy. Todd had the same, pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. Don't get slaughtered. So I put together what they call a collar. And what that is, I sold some of the upside to that Yahoo stock that they gave me, and I protected myself by buying puts on the downside. 3 months later, the internet stock market cratered.
Wow, that is so smart. I mean, here's the thing, a lot of people don't hedge what they had. So what he's basically trying to do is say, okay, if I got $100 million of stock, I don't care about the upside. It's already valued a lot. I don't know how much upside there is, but the downside is tremendous. So what I could do is I could buy puts, and that way if the stock price goes down, the puts go up, and my value stays exactly the same. So what he's trying to do is just preserve his wealth. He's not trying to make money, but he's not trying to lose it. And at this time, man, that worked out well.
I was worth $1 billion dollars, and it was the most insane thing that I could ever come to realize. All I had to do was protect it and not get greedy, and I'd be set for the rest of my life.
He's the only billionaire that I've heard say the mother, effer language. Just hearing him speak so colorfully is not something you would expect from a 60-year-old billionaire.
I told you I valued time. First thing I bought, Gulfstream G5. Now, I didn't just buy it. I'm a tech guy. I go online and I'm like looking up Gulfstream G5, email the guy, and I'm like, can I do a test flight? First time I'd ever been on a private plane. Oh. And I sent him an email saying, done. $40 million. I'll buy it.
Oh my gosh, $40 million. I mean, it goes to show you it's all perspective. When you're a billionaire, that's equivalent to 4% of your net worth. So it'd be like someone being worth $100,000 spending $4,000 to buy a car. Is that equivalent for him of 40 million bucks? Man, that I can't get over that, but I don't know, maybe one day.
Biggest online purchase in the history of the internet still to this day was my buying that Gulfstream G5. Why'd I want a plane? Because the most valuable asset you can never own is your time.
Yeah, but then what's the cost of that, like running that every year? It's gotta be probably another $2 million a year, maybe $3 million on top of that. It's expensive.
I paid $285 million for the Dallas Mavericks. I put a phone book and a computer printout of all of our former customers. And right there next to them, I just started dialing, trying to sell the Mavericks. Ma'am, I know you've been to a Mavericks game before, but you realize now that it's less expensive to come to a Mavericks game than to take your family to McDonald's? Our tickets start at $8, and McDonald's and a Coke is more than that. Why don't you come and try us out? The first game's free on me.
See, he's learned all of this as a kid, though, just going door to door. He's calling the customers himself. That's amazing. The fact that he would do this and not just try to hire this out, you can tell his passion from what he does. He loves selling, he loves business, and that's what he does.
Upgraded it so that we had aroma, because different aromas impact you more before a game when you're trying to get hype versus after the game. Light impacts you more. All these things that try to give our players an edge to help us win, but to also help them succeed. If you're running a company, and if you can align your interests with those of the people you work with, things are going to work for you.
That's incredible how advanced sports is getting right now. Like, they're dialing it in with the color of the light when you walk in and the aroma. Does that work? Does that actually work? You know what, even if it gives you a 0.5% edge, at what cost? It's worth it.
You see the players go running out and dogpiling on top of each other, screaming and yelling and hugging, and you see this big pile of people. Well, I own the team. I get to run out with them. No one's going to arrest me. It's my team, and that is the most amazing part of owning the team. There's not enough stacks in the universe for what that was worth to me, and that was my second big purchase.
Yeah, but what's it worth now? I'm curious. How much is the Dallas Mavericks worth? Wow. $2.7 billion. He 10x'd his money on this. But you know what? Sports teams have been worth a lot of money lately. There's so many new ways to monetize now, and it's exploded the value of so many of them.
I need to set an example here and take the money down, because there was a lesson in my third big purchase.
And his what purchase?
A third big purchase.
Oh, third big purchase. So, I thought he said my therapy purchase. And I'm like, wait, his therapy purchase? He just, what?
There's this amazing house that's about to go into foreclosure. The guy who owned it spent 3 years building it, only lived there 8 months, and then the stock market crashed, and he had never sold a share of stock. Martin called me and said, you can buy it right now, but you have to let me know today, yes or no, $12.5 million. I'm a billionaire. That was my one, why the fuck not purchase. And it was an amazing house.
Oh man, I mean, part of me would feel so bad for the guy who spent 3 years building this house only to get 50% of it back and just waste a whole bunch of time. But man, for someone to be in Mark's position to take advantage of that, like, I mean, it goes to show you, you have to take your investments, cut them in half, and then live off of that. Like, live off a fraction of what it would be worth if it crashed. That's what I kind of do. I take all of my investments. What would happen in a worst case scenario? Values plummet by 70%. What would I do? I'll live on a fraction of that. That way, no matter what happens, I'll be okay. And just kind of factor it in mentally.
You have to know how to sell. Whatever it is you're good at, somebody's going to need that service, someone's going to need that, whatever it is that you're creating, but you have to be able to sell.
Oh, of course, you even have to sell yourself. If you're going to a job, it's like, how do you present yourself in the best way that someone wants to pay for your time? So in everything that you do in life is, at some way or another, has to do with sales.
When you have that knowledge, when you have that ability to sell, when you know that when you walk into a room, you know your shit better than anybody else in the room, that's when it's time to start a company. Then you can start to control your own destiny.
Oh my gosh, I love this. Mark Cuban is the GOAT. I would love to have him on the Iced Coffee Hour at some point, or have him on the channel. Just pick his brain for 30 minutes would be absolutely insane. So Mark, you hear that? We got to make it happen. I'll work around your time. You tell me, 24/7 with 24 hours advance notice, I will meet you anywhere in the United States. Just tell me when, where, 24 hours notice, I'll drop everything, I'll be there. So with that said, you guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, feel free to add me on Instagram. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time.